Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Gangurde, Assistant Professor of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. Students, today we are going to continue the topic of thrombosis, the point that is hypercoagulability of blood. Now here, before that we are going to discuss regarding the pathophysiology, in that the role of blood vessel wall, then role of platelets, followed by role of coagulation system. Now after that, today we are going to discuss on the hypercoagulability of blood. Now here the such a coagulability or the hypercoagulability of blood which occurs, or the occurrence of thrombosis here in some conditions, such as in nephrotic syndrome, means which is related to the kidney, that is nephrotic syndrome, then advanced cancers, then extensive trauma, that is a major injury, that is trauma, then burns, and during puerperium is explained on the basis of hypercoagulability of blood. Now, the effect of hypercoagulability on thrombosis is favored by advancing age. The first reason is the advancing of age, followed by a habit, that is smoking, then use of oral contraceptives, and again the major reason is obesity. Now the hypercoagulability may occur by the changes in composition of blood. Okay, so here which includes, here you can see increase in coagulation factor. The first reason which promotes such a coagulability of blood, the reasons such as increase in the coagulation factor. So here the factors such as fibrinogen, prothrombin, factor 7A, factor 8A, and factor 10A. Such a factors, they get increase in their volume in the blood as compared to the normal. Now the second reason here, increase in platelet count. Here the platelet count, increase in platelet count and their adhesiveness. After that, the decreased level of coagulation. Now which in that the decreased levels of coagulation, inhibitors, examples such as antithrombin 3 factor, then fibrin split products. Okay, so these are the factors, that is fibrin split product, okay, which is the end product of intrinsic extrinsic pathway as well as common pathway, which collectively form the fibrin split product. Why? Because such a plasminogen which form plasmin, and plasmin which acting on the fibrin or the blood clot, and which simply form the fibers or the fibres of such a clots, okay, into fine fibers. Okay, now here the decreased level of coagulation, inhibitors, in that the factors such as antithrombin 3 or third, then fibrin split products. Okay, so this is what about the hypercoagulability of blood. After that, the next here you can see the next point, that is alteration of blood flow. Now here the alteration of blood flow, in that here the formation of arterial and cardiac thrombi, which is facilitated by turbulence in blood flow. Okay, while the here the stasis which initiates the venous thrombi even without evidence of endothelial injury. Okay, so this is what the alteration of blood flow. Here you can see the injury, or what we say that the normality or in turbulence, and in case of the condition, that is stasis. Now here you can see first in case of normality. So in normality there is axial flow of blood in which most rapidity moving central stream which consist of leukocytes and red blood cells or RBCs. Okay, the platelets are present in the slow moving laminar stream adjacent to the central stream, while the peripheral stream consists of most slow moving cell or cell free plasma close to the endothelial layer. Okay, so here the arrangement of such a cells, okay, such a plasma, okay, inside the endothelium, okay, inside such a vessels. How it is here? In case of normality, or in case of normally, so there is axial flow of blood in which most rapidly moving central stream, which consists of WBCs or leukocytes and RBCs. Okay, at the central region, RBCs or WBCs are there. Then the platelets are present in slow moving as compared to RBC and WBC, and they are at the laminar stream adjacent to the central stream. Okay, and after that, while the peripheral stream, okay, which consists of most of the slow moving cell or such as cells here free plasma and which is close to the endothelial layer. Okay, now this is the sequence of such a cells which are inside the endothelium, inside such a vessel. Now the second here, the in turbulence or in stasis. So here in stasis, not stasis, in stasis. So the normal axial flow of blood is disturbed so that the platelets came into contact with endothelium. Here what it is? The normal axial flow of blood is disturbed. Why? Because here you can see normality or normally. The cells, they shows a sequence according to their movement. Either they are slow moving or they are fast or they are they are at the periphery. Okay, as compared to this, here in turbulence or stasis, here the normal axial flow of blood is disturbed so that the platelets come in contact with the endothelium. Why? As compared to normal condition, at normal condition the plasma cells or the plasma which is in close contact with the endothelial wall. Where in case of, okay, if here in case of abnormal condition, or what we say is that the suppose such a condition which get disturbed by means of such a results, okay, then such a platelets, they are present at the periphery of the or close to the wall of endothelium. Now after that, here you can also see in the diagram also. Okay, so besides here you can see the normal axial flow, and here you can see the migration, okay, the migration of such a platelets. So here the inhibitors of coagulation fail to reach the site of thrombus and resulting in enlargement of thrombus size. Initially what happens? At the injured part, okay, the platelets, they find out the injured region, and again as I already told you regarding the primary aggregation, then the formation of such a platelets or activation of platelets, formation of granules, alpha and dense, and after that again the secondary aggregation form, and all this clotting process or the healing process takes place. So, or healing, or what we say is that the formation of thrombi takes place. Now here, if it is not happen, what here? The inhibitors of coagulation fail to reach the site of thrombus, resulting in the enlargement of thrombus site. Now, the turbulence may actually injure the endothelium, resulting in deposition of platelets and fibrin. Okay, so here deposition of platelets and fibrin. Now, this is what regarding the that is alteration of blood flow. Now, here you can see the morphology of various types of such a thrombi. Means according to their location of thrombi, okay, such a thrombi, they shows the different types, or what we say is that morphology of various types of thrombi. Okay, so here Such a thrombi is, that is, suppose they are at the cardiac region, at arterial region, or venous, or as well as at capillary region. Okay. Now here, such a thrombosis which may occur in the heart, then heart followed by arteries, then veins, or again along with that which is also found in the capillaries. Now here, besides the differences in the mechanism of thrombus formation at this site, here the clinical effects of these are even more, right? Because suppose the thrombi of cardiac region which is different as compared to the arterial, as compared to the venous and capillary, and their effects they are also different. So the arterial thrombi which produce ischemia and infection, whereas the cardiac and venous thrombi cause the embolism. Okay. Now here we can see all the thrombi one by one. Now here the cardiac thrombi. Okay, the first one is the cardiac thrombi. Now here the red thrombi, or what we say is that the antemortem, such an antemortem or the red thrombi have to be distinguished from the postmortem clots. So here we have to compare the antemortem thrombi or the postmortem clots. So here such a cardiac thrombi which may form in any of the chambers of heart and on the wall or wall cusps. Okay, so they are more common in the arterial appendages, especially of the right atrium. Okay, so such a cardiac thrombi where they are present or where they are formed, such a thrombi they form in any of the chamber of heart or at the valves. Now they are more common in the arterial appendages or especially at the right atrium region, and again on the mitral and aortic valves, right? I already mentioned you such a cardiac thrombi they are present at anywhere in the heart or at either at the wall region, either at the atrium region. Okay, so here they are found particularly at the right atrium, followed by again they are found on the mitral and aortic walls, and such a walls they are called as a vegetation. Okay, so the vegetation which may be seen in infective endocarditis and again non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis. Now here the cardiac thrombi are the mural, that is what we say that non-occlusive, and are the mural thrombi encountered in aorta in case of the condition atherosclerosis. Okay, so you remember only here that such a in case of cardiac thrombi which is found everywhere in the heart or in at the wall region, particularly at the right atrium, then mitral wall or arterial wall, sorry, aortic wall. Okay, now after that such a large round thrombus which may form and obstruct the mitral wall, so it is called as a Paul wall thrombus. Okay, such a thrombus when it is formed at the mitral wall region, then or which create the obstruction, then what we say is that the ball wall thrombus. Whereas the agonal thrombi they are formed shortly before the death and may occur in either or both ventricles. Okay, either right or either what we say that the left. Okay, now and here they are composed mainly of the fibrils. Okay, now this is what about the cardiac thrombi. Here you can see the distinguishing features of antemeron thrombi and post-mortem clots. Okay, so the difference, okay, antemortem or post-mortem. Antemortem means before the death or what we say that at the live condition, and post-mortem means what? After the death. So here we can compare, okay, the distinguishing features of such a thrombi. Now in case of antemortem thrombi, such a thrombi is they are dry, they are granular, they are firm and friable. Whereas in case of post-mortem clots, such a thrombi is they are gelatinous, they are soft and they are rubbery. Okay. Now, whereas in case of antemortem thrombi, such a thrombi is they adherent to the vessel wall, then they may or may not fit their vascular contours or their regions. But and the surface contains apparent lines of Zahn. Okay. Here the surface contains the apparent lines of Zahn. Okay. This is what about the antemortem thrombi. After that, the post-mortem clots, which includes the thrombi. Okay, the condition of thrombi. They are gelatinous, they are soft, as well as they are rubbery. After that, they weakly attach to the vessel wall, followed by they take the shape of vessel or after its bifurcation, and the surface is chicken fat or yellow, covering the underlying red current genu. Okay, so the gelatinous surface. This is what about the distinguishing features of thrombi of antemeron and postmortem condition or postmortem clots. Then the next type of thrombi is the arterial and venous thrombi. So collectively the arterial and venous thrombi here, which is a distinguishing features between the thrombi, form in rapidly flowing arterial circulation and slow moving venous blood, and are given, okay, or which is mentioned here. You can see again such a distinguishing features of arterial and venous thrombi, okay, uh, which is formed in rapidly flowing arterial circulation and slow moving venous blood. Okay. Now this is what about the arterial and venous thrombi. After that, the capillary thrombi. Now the capillary thrombi, here the such a minute thrombi. Capillaries, I think you are familiar with the capillaries. Capillaries, they are very fine or thin, right? So here the minute thrombi composed mainly of packed red cells and are formed in the capillaries in acute inflammatory lesions. In case of condition what? The inflammatory lesions, then vasculitis and in disseminated intravascular coagulation. Okay. Now such a capillary thrombi, such a thrombi is there formed in the capillaries, and such a minute thrombi, okay, very minute thrombi, minute clots composed mainly of packed red cells, and such a thrombi which is formed in the capillaries in acute inflammatory lesions. In condition of what? Acute inflammatory lesions, then vasculitis and in disseminated intravascular coagulation. In that condition, such a capillary thrombi is they form. Okay, now this is what about the types of thrombi. After that, we come to the fate of thrombosis. Okay, so the fate of thrombosis. Before come to the fate of thrombosis, okay, we can discuss, you can observe this diagram, the thrombus which is present in the artery, okay. Such a thrombi, thrombus or the clot of blood which is present in the artery. So, or the formation of thrombi which is an artery. So, here you can see the thrombus formation or the thrombus, and here you can see the lines of Zahn that I already discussed, okay. So the lines of Zahn, and here you can see this is the arterial wall, this is the arterial wall, and here this is the residual lumen of the artery. Okay. Now here the thrombus which is the adherent to the arterial wall, which is adherent to the arterial wall and is seen occluding most of the region of the lumen, and it shows lines of Zahn. Here you can see the lines of Zahn, which is composed of granular looking platelets. Okay, the granular dots, they are nothing but the platelets. Now after maturing the platelets, they release the granules, alpha and tens granules. So here you can see the granules, okay, granular looking platelets and fibrin meshwork. Okay, along with that you can see the fibers, they are also here, fibrin meshwork with entangled red cells or with entangled or attached RBCs as well as WBCs. Okay, so this is what about the thrombus which is present in the artery. After that, you can see here the distinguishing features of the arterial and venous thrombi. Okay, so here you can see starting from the blood flow. Here the blood flow in case of arterial thrombi, which is formed in rapidly flowing blood of arteries and hearts. So here such a blood flow which is formed in rapidly flowing blood of arteries as well as in heart. Whereas in case of venous thrombi, the blood flow which is formed in slow moving blood in veins. Here the site, okay, the site here, the common in case of arterial thrombi, the site which is common in coronary, then cerebral, then iliac and femoral arteries. Whereas in case of the venous, here the site which is common in superficial varicose veins, then deep leg veins, then again femoral and iliac veins. Now the thrombogenesis, which is formed the endothelial cell injury, example atherosclerosis, where the venous thrombi or the thrombogenesis which is formed following the venous status, example that is in abdominal operations or during the childbirth. Okay, now the development in case of arterial thrombi, which is usually mural, not occluding the lumen completely and may propagate, may divide, propagate, enlarge. Here, in case of venous thrombi, such a development usually occlusive, then take the cast of vessel in which form and may propagate in both directions. Now here, macroscopy in case of arterial thrombi, which is grey-white, then fribble with lines of Zan on the surface. Whereas in case of venous thrombi, they are red-blue with fibrin strands and lines of Zan. Now, in case of microscopic observations, in case of arterial thrombi, we shows the distinct line of Zan composed of platelets, fibrin with entangled red blood and white blood cells. Now, in case of venous thrombi, which shows the lines of Zan with more abundant RBCs. Now, the last one, that is the effects. In case of arterial thrombi, that is ischemia leading to infarcts. Example, that is heart or brain. Okay, heart attack on brain, attack on the brain. Okay. Now, in case of venous thrombi, that is effects such as the thromboembolism, edema, then skin ulcer or poor wound healing. Okay. So this is what regarding the distinguishing features of arterial as well as venous thrombi. Now here we can see the fate of thrombosis. Okay, so the fate of thrombosis, here which shows the possible fate of thrombi such as the resolution followed by organization, then propagation and thromboembolism. Okay, so first come to the resolution. So resolution, here you can focus on the diagram. Resolution, then organization, propagation and thromboembolism. Okay, so fate of the thrombosis is what? First one is the resolution, in which, okay, the administration, okay, or before that you can see the thrombus which activates the fibrinolytic system with consequent release of the plasmin, which may dissolve the thrombus completely, resulting in the resolution. Now here, usually lysis is complete in small venous thrombi, while large thrombi may not be dissolved. The fibrinolytic activity, which can be attenuated by administration of thrombolytic substances. Okay, so here the fibrinolytic activity, which can be done by the administration of thrombolytic substances. Example, the substances such as urokinase or streptokinase. Okay, especially in the early stage when fibrin, which is in the monomeric or monomeric form. This is what about the resolution. Now, after that, the organization. Here, if the thrombus which is not removed, okay, it starts get organizing. Okay, if such a thrombus or the clot of blood which is not removed, okay, so what happens? It start getting organized. Okay, so the phagocytic cells that is neutrophils and macrophages, they appear and begin to phagocytoze the fibrin and cell debris. So the proteolytic enzymes liberated by the leukocyte grow into the thrombus from the site of its attachment, and fibrinoblast start invading the thrombus. Okay. Now, therefore, the fibrovascular granulation tissue which is formed or which subsequently becomes dense or less vascular and which is covered over by the endothelial cells. Okay. So, what it is actually? If the such a thrombus which is not removed, okay, then which get organized and here the scavenger cells or the by process of phagocytosis or phagocytic cells such as leukocytes or macrophages, they appear and begin to phagocytoze the fibrin and the cell debris. Now here the proteolytic enzymes, they liberate and they acting, okay, such a leukocyte, they release some proteolytic enzymes and they liberate into the thrombus from the site of its attachment, and fibrinoblasts start invading the thrombus. Okay. Now here the fibrovascular granulation tissue is formed which subsequently become dense and less vascular and which is covered over the endothelial cells. Okay. You can also see in the diagram. First, which is the resolution. Okay, it is the resolution. Now the second one, which is the organization. So the thrombus in this way, which is excluded from the vascular lumen, okay, and becomes a part of vessel or the becomes a part of vessel wall. Now the new vascular channel in it which may be able to re-establish the blood flow and call the recanalization. So here by a process of phagocytosis, okay, all the clots, okay, or such a thrombus, okay, which get again phagocytized, and here again what we say is that a new vascular channel which may be start to re-establish the blood flow, and now such a process what we say is that the recanalization. So the fibrosed thrombus may be undergo a hyalinization and calcification. Here hyalinization and calcification is the process of addition of such a hyaline or again addition of such a calcium. Okay, example that is phleboliths in pelvic veins. Okay, now this is what regarding the organization. After that, propagation. Now the propagation here, the thrombus which may enlarge in size due to more and more deposition from the constituents of flowing blood. So in this way, it may ultimately cause the obstruction in some important vessels. If such a clots, okay, such a thrombus which cannot remove, okay, then what happens? They get accumulate, they create obstruction to the flow of blood, okay, and they create obstruction to some important vessels also. Now after that, the thromboembolism. Now the last phase of such a thrombosis is the thromboembolism. Now here the thromboembolism, where the thrombi in early stage and infected thrombi, okay, are they are quite friable and may get detached from the vessel wall. Here you can see they may get detached from the vessel wall. So these are released in part or completely in bloodstream as the embolus. Okay. So if such a, okay, at the propagation stage, such a thrombi, they get increase in size and they create obstruction, okay, and ultimately, okay, what happens, at a point is come where they get detached, okay, from the wall of such a blood vessel, okay, and they release in a part or either completely in bloodstream as a embolism, okay, which produce the ill effects at the site of their lodgement. So whenever they pass, they create a effect or its side effect, okay, or what we say is that the ill effects, bad effects, okay. So this is what regarding the thromboembolism. Now here you can see the clinical effects of the thromboembolism. Now here the clinical effects depends upon the site of thrombi, then rapidity of formation and nature of thrombi. Now here you can see the effects such as cardiac, then arterial, venous as well as capillary. Now here first one is the cardiac. Now the cardiac thrombi. Cardiac thrombi, here the large thrombi in the heart may cause the, okay, what it is, the sudden death, okay. The clinical effect of thrombosis in that, okay, suppose we are focusing on first type, that is cardiac thrombi, okay. Cardiac thrombi, such a thrombi, okay, which can create obstruction, disturbances to the heart, okay, or the heart vessels, heart arteries, or what we say is that the in the circulation of blood. So that time what happens, the large thrombi in the heart may cause sudden death by mechanical obstruction of blood flow or through thromboembolism to the vital organs, okay, or the effect is what, the victim or the patient which suffer, which finally shows the death, or what we say is that sudden death. After that, the arterial thrombi. So this cause ischemic necrosis of the deprived part, okay, which may lead to gangrene, okay. So such a arterial thrombi, what it shows, the which cause the ischemic necrosis of deprived part, which may lead to the gangrene. After that, okay, sudden death may occur following the thrombosis of coronary artery. Now then the venous thrombi, so, or it is also called as a phlebothrombosis, phlebothrombosis or venous thrombi. So these may cause the various effects, the effects such as thromboembolism, then skin ulcer, or again poor wound healing, again edema of area drain, again painful thrombus veins, that is thrombophlebitis, then painful white leg, or again the thrombophlebitis migrans in cancer, okay. So these are the effects, okay, due to the venous thrombi. After that, the last one is the capillary thrombi. So such a capillary thrombi or the microthrombi, as I already told you, the capillaries, they are very minute or they are thin, okay. So here the microthrombi in microcirculation may gives rise to dissemination intravascular coagulation, okay? So which can cause the dissemination intravascular coagulation, okay. Now so this is what about the clinical effects of thrombosis, okay. Now this is what all regarding the thrombosis, okay, and in next lecture we'll discuss regarding the embolism.